Okay, so we're going to be talking and working with Tempera Paint. I just kind of want to show you before we get started what my setup looks like. Okay, so it's going to be a little shaky. There we are. All right, so my setup, it kind of looks like this. All right, so I have my tools that I need. Okay, so the tools that I'm using today is I need a toothbrush, a sponge, two different size rounds, two different size flats. Okay, I have water. You notice my water is little puddles at the bottom. Okay, I'm not going to use all of that, but it's good to have. Paper towel and my amount of paint. Now, okay, first off, that kind of sprayed. All right, so when we are using the amount of paint, you want very little. You are not doing a huge painting project like a whole mural, so we are having small amount of paint. Okay. This actually squirted a little bit too much. So when you do get your paint, okay, my suggestion is you have a little bit more of one color, okay, but the rest should be all about the size of somewhere around the dime to about a quarter, okay? And then here's my thing. Okay, I'm gonna hook this up. Sorry for my hands. All right, you have the option, okay? You can either wash the table when you're done, okay, and have no mess mat underneath, or you can use a mess mat, okay, which basically is this big paper that you put under everything, okay, so either wash or not. Okay, last little precautionary thing, Tempera Paint, yes, does come out of your clothes, but you might want to wear an apron, okay, all right, okay, so what we're going to first start off with is actually working with our brushes. Trying to have control of your brushes is very important to have, okay? So when you pick a brush, you want the right size brush for the right size job, okay? I'm not going to go and use a big brush for a small space, all right? Because it's just going to be messy. I would use a small brush for a small space. If I have a big brush for a large space, that makes much more sense. All right, so here, let's go over a couple of these, all right? So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually match the strokes with the brush. So this is a round, okay? How we can tell is because the tops are rounded, all right? This would also be good as a detail brush, small details, okay? But round is absolutely fine. You can say it's a small round, all right? It's a little bit larger. When we work with Tempera Paint, okay, we have a rinse, wash, and we have clean water. So rinsing is kind of like when we rinse it off. So you rinse off stuff all in this little container, okay? It has the ridges, it gets off all the dirty, all right? Notice that I tapped it, it's because I'm getting that water off. Then we're gonna wash the rest off. I'm gonna tap it off. By now, everything should be off your brush. And this is additional clean water, okay? Don't want to necessarily tap into this after you've been washing through these, okay? Because you sometimes need clean water. Rinse, get the excess water in here. You should be good to go. One thing that I do is sometimes I'll take the excess water off. Okay, so you're going to be needing some kind of paint. Now, I had a little bit more red, so red is going to be my color. So what we're going to do is you're just going to go through and we're going to copy the details, okay? Now, detail brushes are great for small details, okay? You take your time to be able to do these, okay? Now, they might not be perfect after you create them, or as you're creating, but it's absolutely fine. Now, instead of me grabbing more paint, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add water to this to extend the paint, okay? So this one kind of goes wide. Press down, press up, okay? When you do your project, painting doesn't involve just doing the solid areas. It's all about adding the small little details. Now having, these different kinds of type brushes provide you the opportunity to be able to do small details. Okay? All right. So we can do small details with a small brush. So I'm going to wash off my brush. Look, perfect. Nothing on there. Okay, next, round one. A little bit wider. So we're going to be doing little scoops. I'm going to add a little water because my paint is just a little dry. There we go. Those scoops. Yeah, so tempera paint is pretty cool because you can, although it has a dry look to it, okay, you can extend it, you can rehydrate it, okay, so let's say this dries and I'm like, yeah, you know, I kind of want to blend this out. Tomorrow I can take a wet brush and I can kind of extend it too, okay? So we can do little swooshes. It's cool because if you notice, we can actually paint on top. It'll give a different effect too. Cool. Now you're probably noticing the wash is getting a little dirty. Rinse. Watch. Like magic. Yeah, I know. It's so cool. All right. Flat. Okay. Got small flats, large flats. Remember, you want it for the right size job. Okay, so we're going to have a small. So what you're missing off camera is when I go in, I actually get a little bit of water, okay? And in my palette, all right, which by the way, I just rehydrated it, okay? Just add a little bit of water. This is how you extend a color, all right? Instead of just painting it, globbing it, I could probably stay in this tray for a whole painting. All I'm doing is adding a little water and pulling in that paint to make it nice and creamy. And that's how you want to paint with the tempera, okay? It's almost like watercolor, right? Yeah. All right, so solid, straight lines. Nice, right? Now the next one's a little bit different, okay? The next one's actually, you have paint on one side and then it kind of fades out. So when I'm gonna go in, here, I'll show you on here, okay? Is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it only on one side. All right. Not hard to see. There we go. We'll see on one side. All right. And then I'm just going to push. You probably notice a lot more paint. Now, if it doesn't do that, so what I'm going to do is I'm quickly drying it off and I'm going to soak it up. A little bit later on one side. Now this last one, it's a dry brush. Kind of like just doing quick motions. Quick motions. Okay? So, hold on to your brush. Make sure you have nice, good support. Okay? You don't want to hold it at the end because then it becomes flimsy. Hold it really good. You can make small details. You can go all different directions, which is great. Okay. So let's work on what can tempera paint do? Well, it can be bold. So what I'm going to do is I'm just taking thick paint, putting it straight on, nice and bold. Okay. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to dip it in the water. Okay. Or it could be nice and light. Now when this dries, it's going to be lighter. Okay. So we can make different intensities. Another thing we can do, now I'm going to switch at some point to my rounds. But for now, we're going to do a dry brush. Now, dry brush is kind of all about having your brush be dry. So you're going to have to take it, dry it off, okay? Really off. Make sure I have space. Okay. So I'm going to take my brush. You can see how really dry that is. All right. And the very end, I'm going to lightly tap. Here, let me show you. I'm going to just tap in some of this already dried up area. See how it kind of has this like little bit? So dry brush, the idea that it's barely touching the surface. Okay. It's almost like we're petting the surface. This is great for grass. This is great for, you know, wood or whatever kind of texture that you want to do. Streaking. No, this does not mean little kids running around with their cheeks hanging out, if you get my drift. All right, I'm gonna actually switch my brush, so I'm gonna have the round, okay? So streaking is this idea of long lines, okay? I'm gonna do long lines. All right, swooshes. I'm gonna switch back to that other brush, to my small flat, okay? Swooshes are good because what you're gonna see what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go like this, all right? And if you have a thin one, although this works, okay, I'll show you both. Find that one brush sometimes is better than the other. Swoosh. Good for like hair. See, let me show you what it looks like with the round. Okay. I guess it kind of works. Okay. All right, let's wash this off. You want to take the time to make sure that your brushes are all clean. So during cleanup, it makes life so much easier because all you'll be like, oh, everything's all cleaned up. All right, so sponge. Now, right now, I have, for this video, I have a lot of new sponges. As you kind of we use them, they're starting to get a little bit dirty. Now, one thing I want you to make sure is that when you use these, I would like you to really wash them. What does it look like when you wash them? You run under the water and you squish them out until you see it runs dry. Don't pull them off, they will fall off, okay? Just take the water, pull it on, and you're just gonna squeeze it until it's completely runs clear, okay? All right, so sponging. You just wanna take it and just dab it. It's a nice effect, okay? So I'm gonna take this and just place it on the side because I'm going to end up washing that. Spray. Okay, so I don't like the idea of everyone in class just throwing paint down. Not my cup of tea, people. Okay, so if you're going to do spray, all right, I would prefer you to do it with a paintbrush. I mean, not paintbrush, with a toothbrush, okay? So all we do is kind of like the dry brush. All I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit wet with the paint like this, okay? And you just flick it down. Now, you are going to get painted on. Don't be shocked, okay? If there's an area that you don't want to get sprayed on, okay, or to splatter or speckles, cover it, okay? But this is another great way of adding some texture. But make sure that your brush, okay, your toothbrush, is dry, okay? And by the way, when you wash that, you want to wash it off, okay, all that. Or if not, what happens is it gets crusty, kind of like your toothbrush at home. Don't wash it, okay? All right, so here's the fun part, all right? Let's get my thumb wash. So we've gone over different brush strokes, how we can do different intensities, different textures that we can create. Now what I would like us to do is actually work through, and remember, right size brush, right size job, small space, use a small brush, okay? Don't use the large one. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through it, and I want you to paint, ready? Yeah, inside the lines. So we're going to go through, and you're going to take your time with the secondary colors, because I'm hoping that you remember. So we have primaries. We have our primary is red. We have yellow, and we have blue, okay? You can paint absolutely fine the secondary colors, okay? But when you get to the tertiary colors, by the way, tertiaries are these middle ones, all right? That's that color that takes a primary and a secondary color. I would like you to mix them, okay? You're like, what do I do? All right, so let's go with the red-orange. So I'm going to get my paintbrush wet because I just want a little bit. All right. I'm going to take a little bit of red and I'm going to mix it. Now notice I didn't use a lot of paint, and you notice how much I'm actually using. This is probably way too much paint already. I'm just going to paint into this space. And how did I get so much paint? I added water. Add a little bit more red. Hey, that looks good. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a few minutes and let's start painting. Remember how I said you might want that that clean water? Okay. This is a good reason after you rinse your brush, okay, you get your paintbrush wet and then you can hydrate that. Actually, let's add blue-green. Ooh, that's beautiful. Not blue-green, yellow-green. Oh, another fun fact. Make sure if you're working with someone, okay, and they're sharing your water dish, that they remember too which one is the wash, rinse, and clean water. Because if not, let me tell you, it just takes one person. You're like, oh. You're like, you ruined it. And if they end up putting their paintbrush in the wrong spot, guess who needs to clean it? Not you. Ooh, blue-green, this is going to be yummy. Oh, yes. I don't know what to say. Wish I had like a joke or something, or I don't even know. Something to share with you, but not really. So blue-violet, another word for violet. Good, purple. So if you're looking for a color and you're like, I can't find purple, look for violet. I think there's kind of a difference. One's a little bit more brighter than the other. And by the way, if I'm going way too fast and I finish way ahead of you, stop the video. Okay. Look at that. I made it all the way back around. That is fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. Holy hoppin' snots, right? Yeah. Okay. Yes, make sure you wash your brush. There we are. Okay, as I said before, if you need to stop the video because I'm going way too fast and you're like, I can't catch up, definitely do it. But for now, we're going to move on. Not bad. Okay, for our next slide. Do me a favor, when you put this on the drying rack, make sure your name's on this, okay? Because this does need to end up back in your sketchbook, but a lot of people tend to lose them once they go on the drying rack because they don't have their names on them and all of them start looking the same, okay? All right, tint, tone, and shade. I love tint, tone, and shade. Tint is all about white, adding white, okay? Actually, I don't even have a pencil. Hold on, give me a second. All right, here we go. Tint, add white. Tone, ooh, add gray. No way. Shade, add black. Now, a way to remember these, okay? So I have a very funny way. All right. So, my way for you to remember these is that if you go driving somewhere, okay, I need you to yell at the people who have tinted windows, okay, and tell them that they need to get their money back, all right? Why? Because technically they have shaded windows. They added black on their windows, okay? if they had tinted windows, they would be white on them. So they may look at you weird, but whatever, it's okay. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're actually gonna paint them so we can kind of compare them. So the top is gonna be our original color. This one's a little bit trickier, right? You're like, Mrs. Smith, why in the world did you make a triangle? You're like, oh, why not? So the top is gonna be the original color. And the bottom one is going to be, oh, you're so good. Yes, the mixed color. So the top one, tint. Let's add white. We get a little water because I want to hydrate it. Da-da-da. Tint is where we're going to have our pinks. Ooh, I want to make that even lighter. All right. Oh, that's nice. Okay, this is where our happy pinks and our happy pastels live in the tint world. All right, so gray. One thing about black, okay, and I'm sure you've heard this many times, and I'm going to tell you a million times. When you're mixing colors, okay, what you want to do is for white, you want to start with white and then slowly add the color to it, okay? If not, you have so much, you keep adding white and white and white and white and white, and it'll never really, affect it if you start with the red, okay? With anything that has black, you want to add the color first and then slowly add the black. Okay, so I'm actually going to take this already mixed white, okay, and I'm going to take, do you see that? Can you see that? Oh, I don't know. Okay, so small. And I'm going to mix it because white and black make, good, gray. We're going to notice that this is kind of like a muted color. Oh, that's so beautiful. It's kind of like mauve-y. This would be great like lipstick. Guys are like, not for me. Yeah, that's okay. All right. So, hydrate. I'm going to use a little bit of my wet, my clear paint water, okay? Ever so small of black, ever so small, okay? Mix it. Notice how fast that took over? I didn't have that much. So you can get a whole bunch of range of colors, whole bunch, just by adding black and white, okay? All right, so what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna create a value scale here. So I'm gonna start off with the color that I just did there. And I'd like you to progressively get this lighter, okay? You're like, how? Oh, I bet you. If you figured it out, you can figure it out. The inside, by the way, I want to be your solid color. So this middle line is going to be the original color. Okay? Hint, take your color, have less black, go in here. A little bit more white. A lot more white. So I got my red. Itty bitty. Black. Okay. Oh, my water is getting so gross, but guess what? I'm still getting clean brushes from it. All right. Remember, white. Start with white. Slowly add the color. So black, we start off with the main color, then it slowly goes. Okay, not bad, right? It's very beautiful. So we still can get a whole range of colors. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to do some gradation. And we're going to kind of look at how to make that blend out. Now, this is something that you're going to kind of want to work semi-fast, okay? So you're like, well, how fast is fast? Well, you don't want it to dry, okay? That's basically what I'm trying to say. All right. We have smooth, we have streak, we have dabbing. Okay, so there's a couple of different techniques that you can do. Smooth, you are going to need that big wide brush because it's going to help you smooth it out, all right? So I am going to get my brush nice and wet, okay? Now I'm going to do, ready? I'm going to do it very fast, and then you're going to see, all right? So I'm going to put my paint down. I'm going to get a little bit of black at the top. And I'm just going to kind of get it to come out, all right? So I'm going to carefully pat it to come down. You're like, what? Okay, ready? I'm going to do the white. Swear. Here. Oh, I got some purple. White. Goes a little bit this way. Get my dry brush. You're like, all right, show me again. Okay, I will show you again. So basically what I'm doing is the paint is wet, okay? And I'm putting down the paint very fast. And then I take a dry brush, okay? And I'm petting the top of it. So it almost like it mushes it together, okay? So I'm gonna get my wet paint. All right, here we go. Pull it out. Some black in. I'm going to let it run out by itself. Take the brush, gently pull it out. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm just patting the surface. Okay, now I'm going to get some white in there. You're like, I can't work this fast. I know, it's okay. You can do it. If not, another way you can do it is grab another brush. And the white can just get lighter and lighter and lighter as it comes in. It's almost like I pet. So that's like really having like down like this, but as I get further and further, it gets lighter and lighter. All right, take a moment. I want you to try this out, all right? If you want to, you can always try this technique on the back of your other paper, which should probably be dry by now, but give it a go, all right? Okay, so if you don't have enough time, just remember pause. We're gonna move to the next one. Streaking! You're gonna like streaking. Streaking's easy. Streaking is all about, I'm gonna get my paintbrush wet, long lines, okay? So long lines, what's gonna happen is these long lines are going to mix. I'm gonna really hydrate my black. Okay. It's not perfect. It's not an easy, like, will blend through. But after you've added like lots of layers on it, they start to kind of blend through. This one actually kind of works nicely if it just stays wet. Nice. All right, you want to see that again? All right, I'll show you again. So I'm going to get kind of like a thick amount of paint. Get it wet. Kind of like work fast. This might not be your favorite, but it's totally possible to do. Whoops. There we are. This one takes a little bit more work, but it does have a really cool effect when it's done. All right. And by the way, if any of these don't work for you, don't do it. Pretty simple, right? Yeah, I know. Okay, Dabbing, very easy. Oh my heavens, this is probably one of the easiest one to do. This is not dabbing, throwing my hands up in the air and doing whatever. I have no idea what you guys do when you do dabbing. Okay? Get my brush, and it is literally like this. You're like, that's easy. I know. You don't want to go down and up. It's more like on an angle, okay? And as you can see, my paint, it's really wet how I'm doing this. Get lighter and lighter. Okay. So not a like vertical, jabbing of the, up and down. It's more like an angle. So let's do that one more time. As you notice, I get lighter and lighter my pressure. Get some white before this really dries. Kind of mixes in the center. Beautiful. Okay, so as you can see at the bottom, there is this cute little picture. All right, so what I would like you to do is I actually want you to put a couple of these things into play, okay? I want you to paint this. But I just don't want it to be boring, okay? I want you to stick in some gradation, okay? I would like you to add in some different colors and a texture and an intensity, okay, to both intensities, and I would like you to put in a brush stroke. Okay, you're like, what does that look like? I don't know. Okay, use the right size brush for the right size job, okay? So for example, if I was in here, and you're, by the way, this little world can be anything. You can have different colors, which is absolutely fine. Actually, I'm gonna make this one a little bit thicker intensity. That's what I'll do. This will be thick intensity. I'm going to make this one look have gradation, little dabs. Okay. All right, some texture. Back one, I think I'm going to have a little bit less. Maybe some lighter. Or my gradation will be a little bit darker. I don't know, what do you think I should do the mountains? It could be anything. Anything. It says, as Mr. Bob Ross says, it's your world. It's whatever. Purple mountains. Some nice, happy purple mountains. What can I do on this one? Oh, you know what I can do? Do some sponging. That would be good. That's cool. That's super cool. So cool. All right, so take a few minutes, finish this up. Remember, I would like you to try to do all of these in there, okay? How you do them is completely up to you, okay? Just, work on it. So let's say I'm going to have this. So if I want to put like thin designs, maybe I want to say, you know what? I want to try putting on some thin designs. Oops. Ooh. I don't know. Not sure what this would be. We can do different designs. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, when you're done with all of this, put your name on it, put it on the drying rack. You have to wash out everything, okay? If you can, if you know someone else who is doing the painting unit next and you haven't messed up a lot, you might want to suggest saying, hey, I have extra colors, you can use them. If not, just throw this away, okay? I know it's a lot of paint here, but I remember when I said don't put too much. Yeah. Don't forget to also wash this out. Look at that! Isn't that amazing? It's a nice little value scale, good color scale going on there. All right.